Welcome to a very powerful CIRF report, this one from May 24th through the 26th. It is the Memorial Day weekend, but does not include Memorial Day. That will be in the next CIRF report. And my name is Chris McCleary. We'll be doing the CIRF report, which is the Collective Influence Report and Forecast. What we do here is we get the main influence that's going to affect all of us, and then we get the solution based on getting in line with the stars and with the help of the I-Ching readings. So it's a horoscope based on 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it, different type of technologies. Now, the word power is very important here. And for those of you who are interested, I want to go over how I do these I-Ching readings. And I typically do them after the DreamBot is analyzed. And I do that because I want to kind of compare. I don't want to read the DreamBot in lieu of the I-Ching reading. I want to do it on my own and then see how that compares with the I-Ching. And so what we had this time, basically I sit in like a meditative stance. Doesn't make any sense. I sit in a meditative position and then I roll the coins after I meditate on what is the biggest influence that's going to affect the collective and what is the best solution. So here's what it came out to be: 26 with 2 change lines, 2 and 5, and that produced hexagram 37. So the 26 is the taming of the power of the great. I'm going to show you how, if we didn't have this I-Ching reading, we would have gone astray in the DreamBot. Now, you're going to probably be confused with the family until we actually get into it. It still has to do with power. It's a different kind of power. All right, let's get to it. DreamBot is a collection of dreams, and look at all these red arrows. At the very top, lion, revved up, climb, power, God, loud, led, who, against, king, yelling, land. Oh my gosh, there's so much coagulation of power there. So already see this. If we would have just done the DreamBot like we did in the past, we would have gone off on just sheer power. And that would have been like fire signs. We would have been looking at the fire signs, probably like Leo, because lion's at the very top, right? That would make sense. But with the I-Ching, the help of the I-Ching, what we're looking for now is the taming of the power. So if you will, the influence is power, raw power. It's chaotic, but if you don't use it right, it's going to bring misfortune. If you learn how to tame that power and use it correctly, you're going to succeed. All right, so that's the importance of this particular horoscope. The other meme that is fairly small is kind of the slave or the under the power, the people under the power. So you have the word under, slave, hold, and underground. Emphasis on under. And then you have numbers. And numbers is interesting because you have 3 and 3rd together in the same run. What is really interesting is in the I-Ching reading, on the first one, we had this was a hex 27, the taming of the power of the great. Look at this. The hexagram has a 3-fold meaning, expressing different aspects of the concepts of holding firm. We have holding together, kind of, banding together, holding back. So learning how to have patience while you're waiting on your power, and then having a competent sage at the top. That was based on the yang line at the top of the hexagram. So anyway, I found that very interesting that the word 3 was in there a couple times, and it's just incredible how all these things overlap. All right, let's get into the astrology. And this is going to be for Friday the 24th. And let's get our tool out so we can focus. All right, now we're going to start early in the morning. We kind of covered this in the last CIRF report, but Moon trine Mercury. We also, later in the day, about half a day later, we have Moon square Venus. That could kind of go into the whole family aspect. But again, we're looking for the power aspects, and there's not a lot of power yet. So let's proceed on. There's no hard aspects. In other words, only the moon has aspects in all these, all these days that we're going to cover. So let's start looking for the power here. Well, first of all, there'll be kind of power struggles right here, okay, on that square. All right, this is going to be Saturday. Now everything really changes here because hexagram 26 was what was rolled. Now what's interesting is Jupiter in retrograde is in 26. Is that powerful? Well, it actually is in this case. Why? Because Jupiter is in Sagittarius, so it's been a little bit more on fire. It's in retrograde, but it still has that fortune synchronistic kind of feel to it with Jupiter. And it's very harmonious in general. And it's a harmonious aspect with the sextile. And that's early in the morning. And remember, this is not power per se. This is the taming of the power. And so let's look at what hexagram 26 says. In my mind, Jupiter is a great taming of power, particularly when you have to like control it and harmonize it. All right, here it is. Hexagram 26, the taming of the power of the great. Heaven within the mountain, the image of the taming power of the great, thus the superior man. And, this is straight out of the Book of Changes. So every time I say man, if you think just woman or whatever, maybe I'll switch it up every once in a while. A woman acquaints herself with many sayings of antiquity and many deeds of the past in order to strengthen her character thereby. Okay, so this one has a lot of power because of the character building and referencing the past, working with the past in order to improve yourself. That's the power that they're talking about. To hold firmly to great creative powers and store them up, as set forth in this hexagram, there is need of a strong, clear-headed man who is honored by the ruler. So we have strong creative power with firmness and truth, and great undertakings succeed. That sounds a lot like Capricorn, hint, hint. Okay, that's going to be probably more towards our solution. All right, we had those two change lines. So line 2 was power accumulates through waiting during any period of resistance. So when you have resistance, you don't power through that. You wait and you acquire more power during that waiting period, and which gives you more power when the waiting is over. Line 5 says forward drive is indirect. Wild force should not be combated directly. Instead, the roots should be eradicated. They used a boar's tusks as an example and getting stuck in the wildness of the boar. But in this case, it is better to, especially with these emotions. Emotions are very wild and tell us or encourage us to do stuff. And so this line particularly is kind of saying the same thing as the line 2, but in a little different context. It's saying, hold off on just going after this wild force and using it. You really do need to tame it, but you need to tame it by taking the root out. So in emotional work, you wouldn't just stop the behavior. You need to go in and actually resolve the emotion. Okay, that's just an example. All right, let's get on to Sunday, and the moon continues its progress through Tropical Aquarius, and it first makes at 10 a.m. a sextile to Uranus, so that could feel a little bit change up in the morning, and then a square to the sun, and that's another kind of like feeling imbalanced and not really using your balanced energy in a positive way, and it's hard to figure out how to move forward. So it's kind of like a standstill in the middle of the day. But as it goes into Pisces, tropical Pisces, the moon, it's going to make a trine over to Mars, Mars being the power. Okay, there's the power that we've been looking for. Now, what's really interesting is, remember how it went from 20 hexagram 26 and it changed into 37. That is, it just happens to be exactly where the moon's going to be when it makes its trine to the powerful Mars. Isn't that just crazy? I just find that insane. So here's what the hexagram 37 says. It's the family, but don't get blindsided by the family thing. Perseverance of the woman furthers. Okay, so it's a very feminine energy. Heat creates energy. This is signified by the wind stirred up by the fire and issuing forth from it. So what this is saying is that the energy is coming from within, the very yin place within us, the feminine side of us. In order to be capable of producing such an influence, one's words must have power. And this they can only have if they are based on something real, just as a flame depends on its fuel. Words have influence only when they are pertinent and clearly related to definite circumstances. In other words, we have to live in the real world. We're not going to have power if we just throw out garbage that's not related to anything in the material world. Again, very, very earth-oriented. Think Capricorn. Okay, let's continue. General discourses and admonitions have no effect whatsoever. In other words, it has to be purposeful communication for it to be powerful. Furthermore, the words must be supported by one's entire conduct, just as the wind is made effective by its duration. If words and conduct are not in accord and not consistent, they will have no effect. So we have to be what is called in psychology congruent. What we're saying has to be the same as what we're doing, and hopefully what we're feeling. It's all congruent. It's all the same. That's how you're going to get your power. And by the way, this is the creative force, right? So when the mind is thinking a certain way and the emotions are connected to that, and you're carrying out something in the real world and your behaviors, that's when you're starting to create reality. All right. So now let's see where we are here. Hold on. Not quite ready for that. We first have to look for our solution. I thought long and hard here, because when we look for solutions, we're looking to get in a line with the stars, and we're looking at the sidereal astrology for that solution to handle the energy. Now, the problem is in sidereal astrology, it's crossing from Capricorn into Aquarius. All our aspects are based off of the moon. And so, but the majority of our transits, the moon is in Capricorn. So the 24th, it's in Capricorn, 25th in Capricorn, and then even most of or at least the first half of the 26th, still in Capricorn, sidereal Capricorn. So what I'm suggesting is the Capricorn influence, and we read all these things about being real, being congruent. It has to, the words have to relate to something in the real world. Okay, that's all Capricorn, and being grounded and being disciplined. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the solution slides. Now, this one is going to be on NationalDreamCenter on both Facebook and Instagram. So if you're interested in getting the playbook, this is what the old playbook used to be, but I'm going to make it simple by sending all these slides over to National Dream Center, both Facebook and Instagram, and you're going to see these horoscope slides. This one's going to be on Friday, and then we'll have the next slide pump out on Saturday. Okay, so this one is the influence is power, like we saw, raw power. That's the indicated by the lions back here. But the solution is this guy here has tamed the power. And that's what we have to do. We have to tame the power, but we use Capricorn discipline in this case. Good Capricorn earth energy to be real and to be practical. But patience during resistance, we saw that in the I-Ching. Endurance during the pain, that's Capricorn. And congruence with words and behaviors. And then you've got your power. Okay. Then you'll always have this I-Ching hexagrams, reminder there of what they are. And then on Saturday, this will get pumped out again on National Dream Center on Facebook and Instagram. Tame thy power. Raw, chaotic power brings misfortune in the next few days. Learn how to tame it instead. So the first slide is going to be on the very first day after the CIRF. And that's going to be the full summary slide. Then the next day, the reminder will come out. So so if you like that idea, sign up on either Facebook or Instagram, and you'll get those for free. Those are pumped out. Those will be out, what, six days a week now, as it's planned out. All right. Yeah. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And hope you enjoy these CIRF reports. You know, it's just the I-Ching is bringing so much more to the table, and really helping triangulate what's really meaningful and out of the stars, out of what's influencing us. So, hope you enjoy. We'll see you on Sunday night. That's the plan.